I'm not being protected right now. Or setting a henchman to like passive or aggressive stance. Both of those. Oh, damn! Hello, crewmates. I don't want to say that either. Hello, villains, I guess. I'm your host, King, and welcome to this episode of City of Villains, I guess, for both City of Heroes and City of Villains. I wanted to talk about how to do Bodyguard on a Mastermind, but let's start with what is a Mastermind. As a Mastermind, you excel at using others to do your dirty work. Perhaps you build killer robots, command deadly ninja, order hardened soldiers, or summon the undead to do your bidding. Whatever your choice, you have an army of minions at your beck and call. You can summon them when needed, order them to work your will, and even use your own powers to enhance them or weaken your foes. The Mastermind is a difficult class to play, often demanding constant attention to control your minions and stave off the retribution of your enemies. Masterminds can control a lot of pets, but the special part about Masterminds is they can have their pets soak up damage for them and keep them alive, potentially making them one of the most toughest characters in the team. So, let's introduce Bodyguard mode for Masterminds. Bodyguard. Issue 7 brings with it a new defense feature for Masterminds. Bodyguard. Mastermind Bodyguards. You can set any Mastermind pet to Bodyguard by selecting the defense stance and the follow orders. Note, it's a little bit more than that. It's even better than that. You can go to Bodyguard mode if you set your pets to defensive stance and follow, but also defensive go-to and and defensive stay will also work. All of them will work. So as long as they're in defensive mode, you can have them follow you or set a go-to command or have them stay and they will be in Bodyguard. Your pets must be within Supremacy range for this function to work. We'll talk about Supremacy later. Bodyguard damage mitigation. When set to Bodyguard mode, the Mastermind and his pets share damage from any attack that the Mastermind takes damage from. Each pet takes 1 share of the damage, and the Mastermind himself takes 2 shares. This is in addition to any damage that the pet themselves might incur from area attacks. If a Mastermind is in Bodyguard mode, it makes them incredibly tough. Theoretically, I guess they could die before their Mastermind pets do, but generally speaking, because you can still use inspirations and such, you're pretty much never gonna die as long as your pets are alive, which makes you incredibly tough, especially if you're using some sort of heal power. Next, let's talk about what are pets and what are henchmen. So, the Mastermind can control a lot of different pets, but they're special because unlike other pets from other archetypes that other people can use, Masterminds can use henchmen. Henchmen are a special type of pets. Before, I would have described henchmen as you can control henchmen directly, make them move around and such. But since in ThunderSpy server, you can now control your pets like you can henchmen, which is really cool, that definition probably doesn't work anymore. I'm gonna drop a force field generator. This is a pet as well. Although this one, I don't think I can actually tell it to go places. No, I can't. So this is a pet, I summoned it, but all it does is really just follow me. I can't make it attack or anything like that. Also, if I take damage, the force field generator does not share the damage for me, unfortunately. So it doesn't help at all in terms of Bodyguard. I'm gonna release it and let it go away. But a henchman, like these, man, this is so cool. So henchmen like this, they will protect me and they will share my damage. Let's go ahead and demonstrate this. Ewer Crewman, are you still around? I'm just going to make sure they're in Supremacy range. Masterminds have inherent powers. You can see right here. You can right click it. And it says Supremacy. This is a power that we have, naturally, all of us have, starting issue 7, if I remember right. Blasters have their inherent powers, tankers have their inherent powers, each are different. This is a Mastermind's inherent power, Supremacy. A good henchman knows how to manage his henchmen. A good mastermind knows how to manage his henchmen. The mastermind imparts a bonus to his henchman's accuracy if he is nearby and not phased or otherwise can only use self-only powers. Additionally, your henchmen within range and defensive mode and follow mode, or stay, or go to, will share damage with the mastermind, with damage being divided evenly between the mastermind and each one of the henchmen in range. What is the range of Supremacy? 60 feet. Alright, that's a pretty good range. This one is barely out, or maybe in? Hold on. Yeah, so okay, now they are out of Supremacy range. Oh, so 62 is okay. 63, 65. Okay, I'm not gonna... Let's leave it there. I'm gonna tell them to hold ground, which is this right here. That's actually not related to Bodyguard. That's just so that my robots will stay out of range and they won't, like, shoot Ewer Kerman when he shoots me. I actually need more robots to soak up more damage for me. But if you take a look here, these henchmen are soaking up damage for me. So I take very, very little damage. Here, I'll go ahead and send them away. Go ahead and shoot me again. Oh god, I hope you don't kill me in one shot. That would suck a lot. Oof! What is that? That's like 60 damage. Okay. Holy crap. I don't have that much HP. I only have 656. That is freaking terrible. All right. So I'm going to summon more robots so more of them can soak up my damage for me. So I'm going to make them do go-to commands. I'll explain this later, but as you can see, you can totally control your robots like this. Cool beans, and then I'm going to tell them to hold ground. So no matter what happens, don't move. Don't try to come and save me or anything like that. Oof. Oh, damn, I went flying. Okay. So each one of these guys, instead of taking 6 damage, I think, they're now taking 4 damage from that earlier. Yeah. So each one of them take less damage. Oh, they take 14. Yeah, cool beans. As long as your pets are alive, you pretty much won't die. Especially if you have healing powers. Oh shit! Of course, if you get knocked away from your henchman's range, that will be really, really bad. That will definitely get you killed. So getting knocked away is actually a very, very, very scary thing. So let's start with talking about the different stances. Passive, defensive, aggressive. Let's start with how to actually get that window out in the first place. It's a really good idea to go over this right now then. Okay, options, window, pets, advanced pet controls are on. Good. So under Windows, pets, show pet window option, menu, options, and then under Windows tab right here, there's a section for pets, and be sure to have show pet window option enabled. Let's see, advanced pet controls enabled. Yeah, let's make sure those are enabled. Then we can click chat, and then team should, there we go. In the team window right here, it will show pets. So we're gonna click that, and it's gonna open the pet window. That's what it is. The first thing that I would say, let's go to options and switch to advanced mode. Yeah, there we go. Very, very important. Let's start with that. Okay, so let's talk about the different stances. There are passive, defensive, aggressive. So you can click right here, and you can see that each of your pets, you can set them to passive mode, defensive mode, or aggressive mode. So the stances determine how the robots will react in a fight, in a battle. So if they are set to passive, they will not retaliate. Even if somebody shoots at me or somebody attacks the robots, they'll just sit there, they won't react to it. Defensive mode, if they are attacked or if I am attacked, then the robots will defend themselves and they will fight back. But normally, they will not attack. Aggressive mode is if there's any enemy in range, they will kill it. And they will follow and chase them. So with the aggressive mode, they'll just attack anything that is in range. So yeah, passive, defensive, and aggressive. If they are in passive, then they will not fight back. If they are in defensive, they will protect themselves and protect me if we get attacked. And if they're in aggressive mode, then they will attack anything that is within range. So let's talk about the 4 commands that you can give the robots or your henchmen. They are attack, stay, follow, and go to. So you can select a target, and this is right here, right? Yeah, you can click attack my target. Trust me, this is really tedious work to actually do this, and also to put buttons on the bottom too. We're not gonna do that. We're gonna find an easier way to do this. But for now, you can command them, or individually like this too, to attack your target. And then they will go and attack. The next one is follow, which is this right here. Follow me. And then the very useful go to command right there. I usually use this to make them charge into like an enemy group like this. And you can also tell them to stay, so they won't follow you anymore. And so yeah, that's the attack, stay, follow, and go to. Now, in order to stay in bodyguard mode, we need them to be defensive. As long as they're in defensive and you're not giving an attack command, they're going to be in bodyguard mode. So if you tell them to stay, you can tell them to follow me. You can also tell them to go to, like go charging in towards an enemy group. They're still in bodyguard mode right now, so we're still protected this entire time. So ideally, you should be able to just tell them to follow you at any moment, like this, and tell them to go somewhere while entirely being in bodyguard mode, ideally. And so that is the next step on how I'm going to show using binds and macros. So let's talk about what is the difference between a bind and a macro, and what are they? So binds means keybinds. And there's a whole section on the wiki, the Paragon wiki, on how to do this, but I will simplify things right now. With your different keys on your hotkeys, like W is to move forward. These are all things that are built in, space is jump, for example. But you can make your own, not just from this menu, but you can actually type in whatever you want and set it up. It ends up being something like this. That will be in your game folder. You don't really need to worry about that. Just only to know that all these hotkeys are actually stored inside a text file like this, and you can actually just change this text file and be able to change your keybinds. But we're going to do this the really easy way. If you type in things like, you do this with a slash command. You slash, and that's a command. If you want to bind like your control button and your A button, for example, you can have it Petcomall passive. You can set your control and A so that all your pets will become passive stance, as an example. So when you do that, you now just made a new bind, so your control and A will set your henchmen to passive. Macros are something a little bit different. Macros creates a new button in your power tray that you can click to activate. So it's more of a mouse click versus a keyboard thing. So you can do things like /macro, macro, and test, and then I will say in local channel, this is a test. Enter. Where is it? There it is. So right there, that created a button here called test because what I wrote was /macro. I want to create a button called test, and when that happens, I will talk in local channel saying this is a test. This should work. Let's see. I'm gonna click test now, and I will say this is a test automatically. I will say that. You can do that. You can use this to, like, you know, change your pet stance and such. We're not gonna do that because if we do that, then in order to control your character, you have to be clicking all the time. So we're not gonna do that. We're not gonna do that. But that's the difference between a keybind and a macro. Macros are more for mouse. Keybinds are more for keyboards. So we're gonna do this in keybinds. And I'm gonna make this really simple. You pass. I'm gonna make this really simple. So I already have all of the commands that I recommend having when controlling a mastermind, and it's not that many, and it's actually pretty simple because it's all the buttons are really next to each other on your keyboard. It's going to be CTRL+A+S+D and also CTRL+Z, X, and C because they're just right there with your left hand, 3 fingers, really easy to access, and also CTRL+R. And your 2 mouse buttons, your 2 extra mouse buttons. That's like mostly everything that I use this for. We're also going to use Shift and R for hold ground, but we'll go over that later because it's not that critical right now. So we're going to set it so that when you push Control and A or Control and S, D, Z, X, or C, that your henchmen will all go to passive mode, defensive mode, aggressive mode, and they'll be automatically, they'll all stay, they'll all follow you, or they will all go to. You can mouse click and tell them to go somewhere, and you can tell them to also dismiss and they'll go away. So this is really simple. I'm gonna leave this in the description in the video. You can just select this whole thing right here, just the /bind CTRL+A Petcomall passive. That's when we're gonna we're gonna set the hotkey for when you push Control and A at the same time. All of your pets, Petcom, all of your pets will go passive. So just copy that and simply paste it into your chat channel box here, and then push enter. And this will just override whatever you had for Control and A in your character, and now it will make it so that all your characters are passive. Yeah. All your henchmen are passive. So you can just go ahead and copy and paste each of these, defensive and aggressive, etc., etc. Mine's already set that way, so it doesn't really matter. I can do that, and it just overwrites it with the exact same thing, so it doesn't do anything. So you can just go ahead and copy and paste all of these, all of these right here, the /bind right here. Petcomall, passive, defensive, aggressive, stay, follow, go to, dismiss, attack, follow, defensive, and also this hold ground one, because we'll go over that later, and it will be very, very useful. So let's go ahead and demonstrate what all this can do. And I'm going to make them so that they won't attack. So as soon as they show up, I'm going to push Control and A. You can see the stances go passive green right there. Now I can tell them to go here. Control+C will make them move like this. Very, very handy. Now we can set them to passive using Control+A. We can also push Control+S to go defensive and Control+D to go aggressive. It's that easy. Super, super easy. If we want them to go to Bodyguard mode, we can just push Control+S and then push Control+X as well. That's defensive and follow. You can also, once you push Control and S, Control+S is defensive. You can do Control+Z to make them stay. You're still in Bodyguard. You can do Control+X to follow, which is still in Bodyguard. And you can do Control+C and make them go to, which is still in Bodyguard. All of this is in Bodyguard. All of this. So they are protecting you this whole time, whether you tell them to stay, whether you tell them to go to somewhere, or if you tell them to follow you. They're protecting you this whole time. I'm gonna force the pets not to fight back. I'm having them set to defensive follow right now, and they actually won't fight back for 10 seconds after I give that command. Why? I'm not entirely sure. That's like a thing that they added. If you tell them to go to bodyguard mode like this and defensive follow, they won't attack, they won't fight back for 10 seconds. There are ways to override that, which I will show. Normally, if you tell them to follow and defensive, they won't fight back for 10 seconds, which kind of sucks. So there's ways to override that. Earlier on with these commands, the mouse button 4 and mouse button 5 also now have a function. If you push mouse button 4, for me it's this button right here, it will make it so that all your pets will attack a target. Very useful, but you won't be in bodyguard anymore when that happens. So you almost never want to use that, because at the moment you use that, you become vulnerable. You can die when that happens. When you push the mouse button 5, for me it's this one, then they will all follow defensive. They will be in bodyguard mode at that point. So that's the button that you don't want to usually use. This is the button that you want to use usually. Usually. When they are in bodyguard mode like this, I push the defensive follow. They won't fight back for 10 seconds. Yep. Okay. So for 10 seconds, they won't do anything. Like, I'm not touching anything for like 10 seconds. They won't do anything. I guess I should dismiss a lot of my bots, so they don't actually kill you. Yeah. So now they will attack, but yeah, they just don't. In fact, I think I only need like one of them out right now. Now that I think about it, I don't need all these guys out. Sorry. Let me do that again. But there's a way to override that. If you do a goto command, so a Control+C, they will immediately start fighting back like this. So if you need to push your mouse, 4 button was it? No, mouse 5 button. Yeah, if you need to push your mouse 5 button and have them follow you like this, the easiest way to let them fight back real quick is to just push Control+C. Like that. Or you can push Control+Z. That's a stay command. That will also make it so they'll immediately fight back. I'm first going to do the whole defensive follow thing right now. So he won't attack, but I'm going to push Control+Z, and he will immediately fight back like that. Very cool stuff. If I do a Control+Z or a Control+C, he will immediately start attacking. I don't know why that is. I think that's pretty silly, but that is how it is. So if you guys ever are like, but in bodyguard mode, they don't fight back. It's not entirely true. They do fight back, but there's a 10-second delay, which is really stupid. So all you need to do now is push Control+Z or Control+C. That's it. That's it. And then they will start fighting back. Like right now, I push Control+Z. So he'll immediately shoot back. Fight back. Return fire. All the above. What if your pets go crazy and they start attacking enemies you don't want them to attack, or like they start running off because they're aggroed by another enemy group or something like that? Happens all the time, right? Well, there's a surefire way to make them stop what they're doing, drop what they're doing, and come right back to you, and don't mess around. That is Control+A and Control+C. So Control+A is passive, and Control+C is goto. So no matter what is going on, and I mean no matter what is going on, no matter how aggroed they are and they're shooting at the wrong targets, or when they're not supposed to be shooting and they're shooting at things, if you just push Control+A and then Control+C, they will drop everything they're doing. Because it's you see people all the time going, my robots are going crazy, like why are they being stupid, why aren't they following me? I'll tell you why. Because you're not doing this right now. Control+A and Control+C. They will 100% of the time drop everything they are doing. They will stop attacking and they'll come right to you immediately. 100%. It is very, 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 very reliable. I know that's going to be amazing for most people. That's like one of the best things ever. Control+A and Control+C, passive, and then goto. As a mastermind, you want to set them to defensive, and you want to set them to follow you normally. So that's Control+S and Control+X, or you can push the mouse 5 button, like I told you, and they will usually be following you like this, and they will usually be in bodyguard mode. That's what we usually want to do. Of course, then, if we want to have them attack or something, they might not be, like if the enemy is over there, these guys might not actually attack. But usually, especially when you're fighting against NPCs, because NPCs shoot at you the first time they see you, you can do a go-to command. So a Control-C, and you can go towards that enemy like this, and you'll be protected the whole time, and then they'll start fighting. If you want them to stop, passive go-to, and they'll just stop. No matter what is going on, they'll stop. Even if it's going to kill them, they will stop. So taking them out of this defensive position is very, very dangerous, because right now if I get shot, I won't be protected because we're not in bodyguard mode. So taking them out of defensive is very, very dangerous. So for example, if you command them to attack like this, I'm not being protected right now. Or setting a henchman to like passive or aggressive stance, both of those, oh damn, makes it so that I am not protected at all. Wow, that was an incredible knockback. Holy moly, that was amazing. Was that a shotgun shot? That was crazy, dude. So if you ever need to do any of those, attack, passive, or aggressive, any of those, then be sure to go back to bodyguard mode as soon as possible for safety. The easiest way to do that is to push the mouse 5 button. That's a defensive follow. Or you can do Control+S and Control+X. Push Control+S and Control+X. You can do that, but it's easier for me to just push one mouse button, so that's what I usually do. So if you ever need to attack like this, just as soon as possible, push that button again to come back. And if they're not fighting back for 10 seconds, then you can just push Control+Z and it'll make them stay and attack, or Control+C as well to make them go to, and they will immediately fight back. So let's go over one more thing, a bonus thing. So we're going to talk about hold ground. That is a very special feature here. It is not related, it is not bodyguard. It's not the same thing as bodyguard. Even though the description kind of hints to that, it's not. I'm going to tell you what hold ground is. Hold ground, first of all, I think you can find it in the powers tray in the Mastermind pet command, right? Oh yeah, right here, hold ground. So I usually drag that and I put it in a special place in my power tray. You can click this up arrow right here, and you can make your tray 1, 2, 3 rows if you want to. I usually do, and I put it right here on row 3, 4th from the left. There's a lot of reasons why I do that. Maybe I'll go over that in a different video, but I leave that right there. Because we saved our bind as SHIFT+R, this makes it so that when you push Shift and R, it will activate the hold ground, but it's actually even better than that. Usually you have to click on one of your henchmen and then click hold ground. That's kind of hard to do when you're in emergency. So what I did was, if you push Shift and R, it will automatically select the second pet from the top. And the reason is because sometimes you have like non-henchman pets on the very top. It happens with Masterminds, you just gotta trust me. Push Shift and R and it'll automatically select your henchman and it will go into hold ground. Just push it twice. So what is hold ground then? Hold ground makes it so that no matter what happens, the robots will stay there and they will not move, no matter what. And that's really cool because they will usually, if you tell them to do the stay command, they will stay, they will stop what they're doing, but if they're attacked or if you give them a command, they'll move away. When you have them hold ground, they will not move. They just won't move. The only time they will ever move is they're like knocked back or something, or maybe you can push them. Yeah, but they themselves will never move. It's a common misconception that, oh, I know what bodyguard is. I'm just going to push hold ground and that's it, right? It's not. They're completely separate things, because you can have hold ground, but as soon as you tell them to attack something, they're not in bodyguard anymore. It's the basics of bodyguard. Make sure that they are within 50 feet of you. Make sure that they're following you, or they are go to or stay, not attacking. And make sure that they're in defense mode, not aggressive, not impassive. So if you have them following and defensive most of the time, just keep it that way. Don't tell them to attack things, and you're going to be able to survive almost any mission. Actually, PS, postscript, there is one more thing that I do need to mention. The henchmen, they need to be in line of sight. That is incredibly important. They won't do bodyguard if they are not in line of sight. You can see that they're in supremacy range right here. They are really close, they're within 50 feet. But you can see that the supremacy goes away when I go around this rock, like that. You see? Now it's all gone. Right now, we are within range of supremacy because this is 30 feet, but they're not in line of sight. They can't see me. Therefore, they are not protecting me. If I go around a corner like this, they lose that. You see? It all goes away. So you need to be within line of sight. You need to be able to see them. They need to be able to see you, or else it doesn't work. Okay, PPS, I guess. PP. Postscript. The Control-R, I forgot to go over that real quick. So the Control-R is the Petcomall dismiss. So you can just right-click your pet, and you can, where's the dismiss? Dismiss, right there. You can tell them to go away. Which is a really, it's nice. I recommend doing it because I don't like it when people just like leave their robots flying around, and sometimes you go through like doors and stuff like that and they just all collapse and die and they just leave a heap of corpses and stuff. I don't know, it seems kind of messy. It looks really cool too. So when you're done using your robots, you know you're safe and such, you can just Control R and they all go away at the same time. This also works for all other pets as well. Good night, everyone. Yes, thank you very much for watching, everyone. Thank you, Ewer Kerman, for your help. And I sure hope that this video helped you. This is King signing out. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. By the way, in ThunderSpy, if you're like plant controller or something, you can tell your flytrap pet to move around or to attack specific enemies now. Just like it's the same controls as Mastermind. So that's really, really neat stuff.